So I have to say that there is one story that I do want to cover.
Which was what our producer John sent us a link to this
is very interesting.
But why do we have to look at her?
Why do we have to
look at her?
Well, I don't want to look at her per se, but there's
and
no
that was when she was young. I mean,
almost 30 years ago. It's amazing how time flies, eh? But yes, this is definitely something that we do want to cover.
Okay.
So I want to
hide,
share.
Yeah.
Stop screen.
Yeah, I guess you have to, because then you have to add the new one.
Share screen.
There you go.
I'm getting this, baby. I'm getting it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, yay. So as a lot of you know, Hillary Clinton was in the news again today, and it's never for a good reason, because
never good.
When would it ever be?
She needs the hook so bad.
So Bernie Sanders, as many of you know, he's the chair of the Senate Budget Committee. It's one of the most, I would say, past being the Speaker of the House and being the Senate Majority Whip, this is probably the position you want to have.
So it's the third best position.
Probably. Yeah, I'd say it's right about that.
Okay.
So being the Senate Budget Committee chair, the buck basically stops with Bernie, a la Harry Truman, if you will. And so Bernie, whatever his grand compromise was behind the scenes with Joe Biden, if the grand compromise is to at least start getting the ball rolling on Medicare for all from the standpoint of reducing the Medicare age to 60, or dare I say 55, that is going to be tremendous for tens of millions of people.
Can you explain to me why that causes us to have to look at HRC?
Now, the reason we have to look at HRC...
Please, if I'm going to have to look at her, please.
Now, the reason why we have to look at HRC is because there was a firestorm. As you know, we put out only one social media response to this today, but it was basically to allude to the fact that, yes, 30 years ago, Hillary Clinton, when she was the first lady, alluded to the fact that we do need to have universal health care, but she was in a very fortunate position to be making this statement essentially when the Republicans were taking over, and they knew that it was going to be nothing but divided government. And so it wasn't going to go anywhere. That was essentially the point. But even today,
controlled opposition.
You have people that want to come out and say, I know Bernie Sanders is, you're all talking up Bernie about how great a guy he is, but never forget what Hillary Clinton did so-and-so. Yeah, Hillary Clinton did so-and-so 30 years ago, and she's been taking money hand over fist from big pharma and the private insurance industry for the past 3 decades.
Oh, yeah.
So this whole idea, and again, I'm not into this pissing match about how when she made her grand speech during the campaign in 2016 saying, it will never come to pass. Who cares about that? And the point is that this particular person who put this out there, it got retweeted by Hillary Clinton. But what a lot of people don't know is that
it gets better.
This particular lady has already been flagged as part of the K-Hive for literally sending not so subtle threats to a lot of noted people. Now, you were not one of them, thankfully.
They don't like me, though. The K-Hive does not.
But they sent it to Marianne Williamson, and the coded language that they used was, some things are going to happen to these people. What does that mean?
I don't know. They could get Arkancided.
Maybe.
That's a thing.
That is a thing.
So, but here's this is the most roundabout way you're going to get to the funny part. Like, the whole point of this was some of the responses to this tweet. So this woman, it was very detailed, your story. You tell stories like my mother, you know that. All the whole background.
Well, if anybody doesn't like how I tell a story,
the whole background. But what's so funny is I don't think this got the response that they were hoping for.
No, she got what she wanted. She got Hillary Clinton to retweet her message, and that probably was the whole point.
Well, but now, no, that's not the point. The point is the kind of comments that followed this. You get things like, how many slave markets is Bernie Sanders responsible for? I mean, I'd be kind of salty if I had the media on my side, the money on my side, the identity politics on my side, and I still lost to the most hated man in history. Like, this is like, the comments are not, you're so petty and ridiculous and retweeting a K-Hive troll. Please go away. You are such a toxic and sufferable person. Bernie has been advocating for universal health care since 72, and he hasn't given up in almost 50 years. Unlike you and your rapist husband, go back to the woods with your Chardonnay so the adults can continue to do the work. So do you always retweet people who threaten others? Oh my God.
Look, I haven't been here in a while. I haven't really had a lot to say about the
Oh,
circumstance.
your
but
wife retweeted that today.
Listen, Hillary, anytime someone has something nice to say about her, chances are she's going to retweet it because it doesn't come along that often. So she decided to retweet some lady. She didn't even know who she was.
We're reading some of the comments to her tweet. Okay, so here's one.
Well, hold on.
Thanks for Trump. Your career has been uniform failure at every position. Your psychotic thirst for money and power has only been eclipsed by the havoc you've wrought across this country and the world.
Are they talking about me?
No, they're talking about your wife.
Oh, they may be talking about both of us then.
I don't know, but this is pretty specifically towards Hillary.
Well, look, Hillary, she ain't going to apologize for doing something wrong. She don't know how to do that. I mean, she may, deep down know that she was wrong for retweeting a lady who was basically threatening violence. And, we hear all about violence lately. It's kind of crazy. But the
jealousy is a bad look, but we already know how petty you are. I'm grateful you will never be president.
Well, at least I was president.
At least you
Twice. Twice, baby. I got in there 2 times. So some people are saying that this guy Peter, who's claiming to be me, he's going to be in a lot of trouble when they find out he's making fun of good old Slick Willie over here.
Yeah.
But the truth is, this lady who is just kind of.
Oh, look! Here's a picture that somebody tweeted of you and Peter Epstein.
Oh, that's not me.
And then here's that picture of you in the hotel room with whoever that is washing your back.
I remember that lady. She was. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. That's totally not true. It's not me. I never really had anything to do with that kind of behavior.
It kind of looks like you.
I did not have sexual relations with those underage
I'm pretty
girls.
sure this is you on the Lolita Express.
I did not have sexual relations with those underage girls on Lolita Island. Other things may have happened, but I did not have sexual relations with those ladies. And you can't prove it. No matter what, you can't prove it. It never happened. So don't ask questions. Always plead the fifth. You can't get in trouble if you do that. But anyway, I feel really, really bad for Bernie. He's just got to catch so much crap for Hillary, and he's going to be catching it for the rest of his life. Hillary just can't accept the fact that she really can't amount to much anymore. Pretty soon she's going to be retweeting people, bots maybe.
I think that she's just a sad and desperate person. That's what I think.
How do you think I feel?
I don't know how you cope.
No, that's why I try to get away as often as I can. Even at my age, it's not as simple as it used to be, but I'm trying. Hillary definitely doesn't do herself any justice. Not anymore. She just makes it really, really hard to like her. And of
she's
course,
extremely unlikable.
Well, like I said, somebody said something nice about her today. It doesn't happen too often, so of course she got excited.
Yeah, well, she should start reading some of these comments about it because they're really amusing.
She reads them out loud to me, and I just. I got to close my ears. I can't listen because she does it with these really angry fists, like she's going to, what's that term you like to use?
What term?
When we get rid of people.
Arc inside.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you arc inside them.
That never really happened, but, I can't say that out loud. Yeah. Anyway, Hillary just doesn't want to give it up, and I kind of feel bad for her. I think she needs like a token position of some kind. Joe, if you're handing out these positions.
What she needs is a hook around her neck. It's time. The show is over.
No, we're not going to put her out of her misery.
She needs something.
Well, she needs to go away. I understand, but
she really
I don't want to go away. I'm having way too much fun. They still talk about me in the news. Can you believe how much I've gotten away with over the years? Yeah. I can never seem to get in trouble. I continue to do what I do, and no one seems to give a damn.
Nobody cares.
That's true. Well, I got one hell of a charm, baby. It just doesn't work on Hillary. Not that I want it to anymore, but, I'm kind of stuck with her at this point. I mean, Lord knows if either one of us got divorced.
Unfortunately, we all seem to be stuck with her.
Yeah, but we've got what's that? You're the lawyer here. What's that?
You're a lawyer too.
Well, not a good one.
Clearly, but you've been disbarred.
Don't let people hear about that. I was just curious as to what the technical term is when it's a spousal privilege. Is that what you call it?
When When you mean when one spouse doesn't testify against another
Yeah,
spouse?
what's that?
It's called spousal privilege.
Well, that's why we can't get divorced, because if we get divorced, I mean, Lord knows one of us is going to be hauled into the slammer or possibly put an oil drum out in the river. So I really don't want that to happen. And so, of course, my penance for the rest of my existence on this planet is I have to remain married to Hillary.
That's not how that works.
I don't really have a choice.
That's not how that works. It's
Well,
funny that you think that's how that works.
I'm still praying that something might happen.
No, because even if you get divorced, it's still your privilege from the time that you were married.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because Hillary's been telling me something completely different, and I believed her. Maybe it might actually be time for me to, find a new person, significant other.
It would have been privileged at the time.
I got
the privilege exists at the benefit of the accused, and it exists at the time that the privilege is asserted for.
Yeah, that was well.
Maybe this is why you were disbarred.
I mean, I don't even know. I mean, look, I passed the bar in Arkansas. You know what an easy.
I'm not going to mock anybody. I don't know.
Well,
we live in Florida.
I passed. If I can pass, anybody can. That's the beautiful thing about taking the bar. Even Slick Willie can pass the bar. And I didn't even study. I was just guessing the whole time, and I guess it kind of just paid off. So ain't that a great?
So we're having a good guest tonight, hopefully, right? Because is he definitely showing up?
That's my understanding.
He better show up. Elijah.
I just wanted to give you some entertainment. No, he said like 9:30.
Okay.
So
all right. So we have a few minutes.
But anyway, I thought it was really great to come and see y'all tonight. It's been a while, but of course, Hillary had to stick her nose in the news today, and anytime she does that, it just gives me a lot more of an opportunity to come and say hi to all you folks, because when she starts screaming like a Looney Tune, I just got to get away for a little while. And your crowd's really, really nice, really wonderful. It's nice to see you, Jan.
Yeah.
Still got to get this lady up to Washington. I'm still, still hoping that you might actually, I can't look at that Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Oh, God, I have nightmares about the queen of the witch, whatever you call her, the wicked witch of the east, west, wherever. She's kind of a devil. I don't like devil ladies. I like angels. I like sweet ladies. The ones that are well.
You're not into cankles, are you?
I'm going to get in trouble with Hillary if I answer that question. I'll see y'all later.
Oh, Bill, so fun. He must be a fan of cankles. Oh no. What are you doing? Wait, the glasses.
I cannot even see straight with these glasses on anymore. But I just want everyone to know that I know my name was in the news today, and I know Hillary and her people are talking badly about me again. Listen, she's never going to let it go, and that's okay. I am the chair of the Senate Budget Committee. And you know what that means? We are going to find a way to make sure that Medicare is lowered, the eligibility age down to 55. We're going to get to 55. I said 60. I thought that was going to be good, but we're getting a little greedy.
I don't think so.
In a good way.
I'd like to be. I would like to be optimistic.
We are definitely optimistic. That is exactly why Hillary decided to retweet that message that was sent out there today, because she doesn't want to not get credit for something that I've been working on for the past several decades. It is what it is. But we are getting things done. Did you also see that we put out a wonderful bill today that is going to include housing for all, part of our new Green New Deal, but it's green housing for all. How amazing is that?
How is that going to work?
That's a great question. And we obviously are going to be doing a wonderful infrastructure plan as part of it. And that, of course, is going to include all new construction is going to be up to standards when it comes to zero net carbon emissions. Now, we obviously are going to take some time in terms of getting it through, and Lord knows we're going to have to deal with Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. What are we supposed to do? I'm just working hard to make sure that people understand that we're fighting, even if it isn't going anywhere. But we're damn sure trying very hard. Don't you guys know I'm trying very hard? Don't you believe me? Do they believe me?
I think they do.
I'm getting too old for this stuff. I'm pushing 80. Did you know that? Did you know that I am turning 80 years old in just a few months?
That's pretty old.
That's pretty old, and yet I'm still in Congress. I don't know what I'm doing, Jen. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to put up with my good friend Joe, because he's a good friend.
I know, that's what's weird.
But I am hoping that as long as I keep saying he's a good friend, we might actually lower the Medicare age. Do you know how many people will get Medicare if we lower it to 60?
I forget how many millions.
17 million people who get Medicare. And if we lower it to 55, 30 million people will
That's
get
a
Medicare.
lot of people.
That's a lot of people, and a lot of people really need that help. So we have to do everything we can in our power to make sure that we lower that Medicare age. That is a very critical part of the next bill, or bills, I should say, that we're trying to get through right now.
Bill was just here. You just missed Bill.
Bill and I are not on speaking terms anymore. He personally thinks that I was going to ruin the Democratic Party and his own personal party. I have no knowledge of what that means.
Well, he pretty much thinks that, you know, it was you and Russia are the cause of everything in his life. That
he only says that because I'm part Russian, and that's his way of making fun of me, because he's a hillbilly. And
I also think it might be because he was hoping that she would be president and that he wouldn't have to see her as much.
Well,
because I do think that he might have thought if she became president, then he'd have a lot less time with her. And I think for him, that's probably a good thing.
Well, you should thank me. I mean, I went and did you see? I did 37 rallies.
Well, I would think he would be thankful.
Well, yeah, but I'm not part of their club. I don't want to be a part of their club. I do not take special interest.
You didn't want to fly in the Lolita Express?
I did not. I don't even know what that is. I don't want to know what that is.
You know what that is.
Lolita, when it came out in 1961, it was a very disturbing movie, and I was a young man at the time. I do not want to hear the word Lolita. It's a bad word, dirty word. Don't want to.
Because Bill Clinton was on that plane 26 times.
Well, look, I can't comment on that.
And went to the private island of Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, I don't know anything about private islands. I don't frequent private islands. Jane and I
bet your really good friend Joe knows all about it.
Well, look, as far as I know, Joe's never been on the island, so that's okay.
All right.
You know, Delaware is its own little island, and I'm sure they do wonderful things in that state that I don't want to know about.
Delaware is a corporate island.
Delaware is definitely a corporate island. I will not dispute that.
That's definitely a source of a lot of corporate shenanigans, is Delaware.
There's a lot of shenanigans that go on all throughout this country, but we are working hard to build a beautiful, strong coalition that is going to sustain itself for years to come. We're going to make lots and lots of changes, however small, however slow, but they're going to happen. I promise. That's why when the Medicare age gets lowered, lots and lots of people are going to say, hey, how come they're lowering the age only to 55? How come they're lowering it to 60? How come they're lowering it to 50 or 45, 40, 35? How come everybody doesn't have Medicare?
Well, I think that you also need to simultaneously be starting it at birth. Like, I think it needs to be coming down from the bottom and down. Like, it needs to be coming both ends.
I totally agree. It needs to be 0 to 5. That is the age where it's most necessary.
Yes. 0 to 5. It needs to be lowered from the top and raised from the bottom.
No, we are definitely going to do that. And of course, right now, we are just trying to stay focused. That's why we put the bill out today. AOC was our co-sponsor in the House, and Cori Bush as well. We all love Cori. She's doing a wonderful job. And of course, Ed Markey, my friend from Massachusetts, was also part of this process. We thank you, Ed. You're doing a wonderful job. You're all doing a wonderful job. Now, can we just get the rest of you guys on board with reality? Because climate change is the most existential crisis of our time.
You know, Earth Day is this week.
And we will be celebrating Earth Day.
But you know what tomorrow is, Bernie?
Yeah. Well, you know, look, I don't participate, but
tomorrow's 420.
If you participate and you want to smoke cannabis, that is your prerogative. I believe in civil liberties. That's why Rand Paul and I get along so well when it comes to these types of issues. And of course, let's not forget, Joe did say that he was going to take our troops out of Afghanistan.
Yes, and then he increased our budget. Then he increased the military budget.
Well, again, I'm doing the best I can. We don't need to increase it. We need to decrease it, as my colleague and friend, Pamela Jayapal, came out and said that we need to do that. And we are definitely working hard to make sure that that happens. But with that said, I have to be going. I know you have a special guest coming on very soon. He seems like a lovely young man, and he's doing a great job, as are you.
One of our little South Florida revolutionaries.
We have a few. That's great to hear. I thought Florida was forgotten. Didn't matter.
Well, you forgot it. You didn't campaign here.
Well, they didn't exactly want me here.
No.
And of course, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she may be a fellow tribe member, but she and I are definitely on opposite sides of that tribe. I don't want to have anything to do with her. And of course, she doesn't want anything to do with me. And so by extension, she tells all of our people to tell me to piss off. So that's the way it goes. But hopefully for you, you'll have better success. That's all I can say. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate you. See you later. You didn't really think you were going to get away with not having me come on the show tonight. Did you see
Did you notice how I didn't invite you? Did you notice how you weren't invited?
I don't have to be invited. I can totally come on your show.
You're not the
anytime I wanna come
president
on.
anymore.
No, I am the president of Florida. That is what I'm the president of. And I'm the president of Mar-a-Lago. Really great place.
That's not a place. It's a sovereign nation.
Hold on a minute. I just wanted to come on and say I was really.
Don't invite you.
I was very proud. I was very proud of President Biden. You hear what I called him? I called him President Biden. He won. That's okay. So anyway, I was very pleased to hear that he's bringing our troops home. I just think he should do it on May 1st, which is the day that I decided the troops are coming home. And it's more important to listen to what I'm saying than what he's saying. But nevertheless, we're very grateful that he wants to bring our troops home. He's doing a really great job there. And I applaud him for that. And I said so in that memo that I pretended I wrote. It turns out that Melania wrote it for me, but she does a really, really great job with that stuff. Anyway, I just want to say we totally don't want war. All we want is to take your resources. So just give it to us. Don't fight us. We won't fight you back. But we totally need your oil. We need your minerals. We need all those things. And we won't hurt you. How simple is that, Jen? Isn't that simple?
This is why I don't invite you.
But I'm just speaking the truth. They don't like the truth, but they can't handle the truth.
Did you see Bill was here?
Yeah, I saw Bill was here, but as far as he knows that, I don't even exist.
And you're the Pied Piper. That was the whole strategy.
Well,
you are the Pied Piper strategy.
It was a tremendous strategy, a really great strategy, and it worked. I totally won.
Oh, it worked.
They didn't expect me to win, but I totally knew that I was going to play them for fools, and they totally bought it. And they totally bought it, and I totally won. And I'm still the president of Florida and Mar-a-Lago. What better? What more could you want? I get to represent a state.
You don't represent the state of
Florida.
I
totally represent the state. Don't you know your governor answers to me?
I do know that, but I actually do
I made him the governor, and he makes me his king. And that's it. That's all there is to it. He doesn't ask questions. He just does what I say. And that's why he passed that bill. I don't want little peasants putting themselves out in front of my home in Mar-a-Lago telling me that I have to change my ways. I'm not changing anything. And if anything, they show up at my house, I'm going to get them arrested. They're totally going to jail for a very long time.
Yeah, that's unconstitutional.
Yeah, but I like to rewrite the Constitution in the way that I see it to be written. And I always have the right answers, the most tremendous answers. And believe me when I tell you, we are going to continue to rewrite the Constitution into the Trumpstitution. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. You're going to be able to read it. It's going to be in basic English, not ye old English, which no one can understand anymore. We only read at third grade levels here. We don't read it like we're going to college.
Well, really, in theory, the actual Constitution is really decrepit and has been falling apart and is fading.
That's what I've been saying for the longest time.
And it's going to need to be replaced.
That's what I said for the longest time.
And you can barely read it anymore in the archives. And there is no way to restore it, actually. It's kind of sad. So if now would be a good time if we're going to create a new Constitution.
Well,
now,
like I said,
it's coming up.
People, I told you, the Trumpstitution, it's a really great name. It sells. It's totally incredible. And we're totally going to have our own network. And they will read the Trumpstitution every day. We'll have how many amendments do we need?
Well, you don't need amendments if you actually just do it, the first time. You don't need amendments.
We're going to have, wait, that's better. We're going to have 45 amendments. 45 amendments for President 45. And they're all going to have wonderful, incredible things attached to it. And everything is going to be about how great I am, in addition to whatever law they want to come up with. But as long as they're lauding me, I'm totally fine with it. Are you fine with it? Are you people fine with it? Do you think it's a great idea? I think it's a tremendous idea. Now, of course, we're going to take advice, suggestions, whatever you got. I really, really think that this is a great idea. So let me hear what you think. Trumpstitution, that's the future. That's what we're going to do. And I feel really, really bad for Hillary. I heard that she's still having a hard time getting over the fact that I beat her. And I beat her badly, tremendously, incredibly. Did you know that I beat her? Oh, yeah. I beat her good. I beat her really good. It's a shame she didn't run again because I totally would have beat her a second time. But with that said, people still love me. They think I'm incredible. And of course, I'm in Florida. Where else would you want to be? There's no extradition out of Florida. We're totally protected from the rest of the terrible country that wants to bring me down. Do you know there's no extradition from Florida to New York? Did you hear about that? It was a really great plan.
Okay, so let's address this though seriously. No, we need to address that.
So you're telling me that I got to go?
You kind of got to go.
Well, I'm only going because I want to go, not because you're telling me to go.
Could you go?
We'll see you guys later. Totally appreciate your time. Goodbye.
Because I have my thoughts on it, but you're not going to like my thoughts on it. My thoughts are on it that there's a name for that. It's called Republican.
So I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt to have their say as far as like what their thoughts are. So a legacy Democrat means this is somebody who is a Democrat that basically their father was a Democrat, their grandfather was a Democrat. This is just something that's been, in the family for a very long time. And when someone says they're concerned about the progressive movement inside the party, you grew up as a more conservative Democrat in the generation today. I feel the more the parties move too far left for us in the long run. I feel though the conservative Democrats like myself are left behind and ignored in every change in the party favor of the most progressive policies. So what I'm going to say to Dark Sage is what you have to understand, because there's a couple things to understand. The biggest reason why the progressive movement is evolving the way that it is and why there's somewhat of this lack of tolerance with where things are right now is the regression of the country has gone to such a point where the income inequality, the lack of job opportunity, growth, debt, lack of health.
See, and I could answer this so much easier.
No, I want to answer. I want to be free.
Okay, because I just have the easiest explanation to the whole thing.
Okay, that's fine. You want to say that person is a Republican?
No, that's not what I was going to say.
Well,
actually, my answer is that the party is not what it was.
That's true.
So when I joined the Democratic Party, it was sort of the party of labor. It's no longer the party of labor. It is actually a moderate Republican party by any standards. Even Reagan had higher tax rates, so we are in a whole different category and world of to the right. So just because they keep putting somebody up in a blue outfit doesn't mean that they're still touting the same values.
You see, when somebody like Dark Sage says, I think we need to move back to the center, this is there's nothing of substance that you're actually saying. And what I mean by that is,
what does that mean?
What does that mean? Does that mean does that mean that you want to privatize healthcare? Does that mean that you want to privatize education? Does that mean that you don't think people should earn a living wage?
Should we have special interests paying for our elections?
Do you believe that we shouldn't move to a clean energy grid?
Right. Should we be investing in foreign wars? Should we be doing regime change in other countries for their natural resources? Should we, like, when you say to the that's what I mean. We're very big into labels. What we are, I'm this blue, I'm that blue, I'm this kind of Democrat, I'm that kind of Democrat. What do you stand for? What do you want to see? I don't think education, public education, healthcare, and corrections should be for-profit industries. That's it. That is it. So if that is what you think, those kinds of progressive values are too far to the left, I would suggest that the Democratic Party in its current incarnation is not anything near a left. We don't have a left. We don't have a Labor Party at all in this country. So what you tolerate as Democrat is just the middle of it's center right.
Our special guest is going to be coming on in about 5 minutes. So all of you get ready for a wonderful special guest in Elijah Manley. But I think that these conversations are important because I still think a lot of the issue that a lot of the more conservative Democrats feel is this is much more of a culture war that they're fighting that supersedes anything that's economic. And that was what we've always discussed, has always been the detrimental part of this entire political process. You have, as I'm sure somebody like Dark Sage would tell you, they're probably a Dixiecrat. They're probably part of that coalition of Democrat that just never left the party, that kind of have,
But then I think you need to realize that where you are probably now really philosophically and policy aligned is probably not with Democrats anymore.
The biggest issue that we have, and again, for me, I'm a progressive libertarian. What I mean by that is
most of us are that.
There is no place in politics, as far as I'm concerned, for corporate special interest money. It has no reason to exist And that is why, as we are seeing the detrimental side of the Democratic Party, Mr. Dark Sage, you have Joe Manchin, who is as conservative a Democrat as it gets, basically driving the party. Let me tell you this. The corporate tax rate from FDR, 1940, up until Reagan's not first year, not second year, not third year, but sixth year in the White House, the corporate tax rate was just under 50%. Reagan, in his, dare I say, not so cognitively strong years,
which to me was a lot longer than people think.
Correct. But we all know how, as I always say, Reagan had a tremendous first term and he had one of the worst second terms you could ever have. Ultimately, in his second term, he did a lot of terrible, terrible things. And one of them was to reduce the corporate tax rate from 46% down to 35%. That stayed that way. It never got brought up again, not during Clinton, not during Bush, not during Obama. But when Trump was president, he reduced the top marginal tax rate to 21%. And that is where it sits today. And that happened in 2018. Now, Joe Biden claims that he wanted to raise the corporate tax rate back to 28%. Imagine knowing that the corporate tax rate was at a standard bearer of between 46 and 35% for generations.
Right.
And now he wants to start at the half mark. What do you think is going to happen? They got it at 21. He says, I want 28, and they're going to settle on 25. Why didn't he say 35?
But see, then it brings me back to the point of, but then why is what we're saying so progressive? They're regressive.
Correct.
You know, I mean, it's
we are the moderates.
Well, in any other developed nation in the world, I would be pretty much right in the middle.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing in any other developed nation in the world that would consider me really left.
By the way, Dark Sage, just so you know, Nancy Pelosi, who seems to be the poster child for every, suburbanite moderate liberal that's in this country, never forget that her political hero, as she likes to say, is Ronald Reagan. Now, that's not a mistake. That's not a one-time off situation. You can look that up online, and she has said it dozens of times. So if your philosophy is trickle-down economics is what we need, and you think that that's what the Democratic Party should be doing, then we have one of two choices. Either we are going to have a massive progressive takeover of the party, or a third party is going to rise from the ashes. Or, dare I say, there's going to be a takeover of the Republican Party, because people are not going to settle for this anymore. We need a nonpartisan labor movement in this country. That is the only way we're going to fix this problem.
And we need a general strike across. We need a multi-union, multi-industry strike. Yeah. And that's really what needs to happen. I mean, we need all of them to come together. I mean, it's when the teacher's on strike, everybody should be on strike. When anybody else is on strike, the teachers should everybody needs to come together, or it's just they're getting creamed.
And the political cronyism is just off the charts. Even today, we support two candidates who are running for mayor in New York City. And one of those two candidates who is running is a former teacher. She was not even given consideration for an endorsement from the teachers union. And why is that? Because the head of the teachers union is part of the political establishment, as thoroughly involved in the establishment as anybody could be.
So did they give anybody an endorsement?
Yeah, they gave it to Scott Springer, who's basically the establishment choice. Mm. That's who they, again, that's who they're getting behind.
Did they even talk? Obvious. I wonder if they even spoke to Yang.
No, because Yang is not, there are a lot of people who think Yang is anti-union, but Yang is really anti-corruption. And there's a lot of corruption within the unions. And, and Yang has a lot of criticisms about the way public education has been handled in this country, and rightfully so. Because again, here's a prime example of that. Even though they were not going to endorse Yang, and Yang is clearly the front runner to become the mayor of New York City, but they're going to try to coalesce behind one establishment guy. And right now, it looks like they're moving away from Adams and moving to Springer. So if that's the case, what this should tell you is that it was not a fair and equitable process. A teacher, yes, an actual teacher who now has over $2.5 million in her coffers for the mayoral race and is now starting to climb in the polls They didn't even screen her.
Well, I mean, are you really surprised?
When Jen ran for Congress against
They
Wasserman
wouldn't
Schultz,
screen me either.
the teachers union was not allowed to screen her. Why? Because the head of the teachers union, Randy Weingarten, has a relationship with Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And that is no different than any of the establishment heads that are running the unions in a lot of places around the country. Now, when it's a rank and file decision, that changes everything. It really does, because the rank and file, when they get to choose, they 99% of the time choose the right candidate.
They're not presented with it as an option. That's the
correct.
Thing. So
that's what happened.
They don't get to know.
And so in this case, because unions have been so decimated in this country, union busting is a lot more. It's not even that it's acceptable, it's that it's possible. If we had strong bottom-up unions in this country,
yeah,
all of that stuff.
Well, I mean, look, we're obviously supportive of the PRO Act, and hopefully
1,000%.
And hopefully, we'll start to see some change. I mean, what happened in Alabama could be somewhat defeatist, but in reality, they were so stifled. They really were, and so they didn't really have that was not a fair.
Dark Sage, all I'm going to say is that when you come off with these types of responses right away, I am pro oil and I am 100% coal mining. Look, could you just do me a favor and tell the audience where you're from?
Why are you even?
I want to know where you're from, because I want to know where you're from.
But why are you even entertaining the troll?
Well, I don't know if it's
Look,
necessarily
our guest
a troll.
is here.
But all I can tell you is, if this is what you think the Democratic Party should be, then we're in a lot of trouble.
Well, I would just say be a Republican.
Yeah, you're better off.
Well, that's much more aligned with what you're saying. I mean, anybody who is specifically anti-green energy and pro-oil, that doesn't even sound like the pretend Democrat Party. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.